speaking exam. Please note that, of course, these notes are for the teachers, not for the students. That's a separate video. We will talk about a wide range of things about the exam, what it covers, exam tasks, how they're assessed, some quick ways to lose points, and just generally some of the advice that I can give you for helping the students get a great score in this exam. When we talk about the scope, it's essentially what was in step 4, plus just a few things. So something that's new on this exam that is not on the lower levels is the use of the present perfect. So have you ever done this? No, I've never done that. Verb 3 forms, questions and answers. These questions will usually come up either in the introduction or in some cases the information exchange task. There are also things with should and things with possibility with may and might and going to, what are the future tenses. And of course, the topic range is greatly expanded. The topic of discussion could be essentially anything at this point. Some of the things that, of course, come up here are adverbs related to present perfect. So, for example, I haven't done something yet. There's great use of if conditionals, 0, of course, subordinate clauses, and sort of sequencing words. So let's see where these would be used. Of course, the first part of the exam is divided into two. It's kind of the same way, sort of introduction, some discussion questions. And then the big difference comes. Part 2 is a scene description, and I'll give some examples of that. Storytelling and information exchange. Essentially, the others are similar to how they look like in step 4, but there are some differences. So let's take a look. Beginning will be kind of the same. It could be questions based on wide range of topics. Almost any verb tense could be with the past, like how was your last weekend? What did you do? How was your last summer holiday? It could be about future. Where are you going to go on your next holiday? And then the follow-up questions could be, have you ever been there before? Have you seen something interesting there? Or have you finished your exams yet? So something like this, 3, 4, 5 questions normally on the November and the February exam. When we get to the final exam, it will be much longer, 6, 7, 8, 9 questions of a familiar topic. Now, here comes a big difference. In step 5, we expect the students to be able to describe a scene that takes place in a familiar environment. So things in a library, an airport, a zoo, camping, all of those. And what the students essentially have to do is to describe what the people are doing, where they are, how they're feeling, familiar relations. And they're supposed to be able to exemplify and demonstrate their knowledge in this task. So it's quite easy to do very poorly on this task if the grammatical structure is identical for every single sentence. So if I say, there's a woman with her son sitting on a green rug, she's wearing a blue sweater and blue jeans. There is a woman in glasses standing next to a book rack. She is holding a book. She is wearing a pink dress. It's the same sort of structure repeated endlessly. This kind of answer will get a low score because it's not a demonstration of knowledge. I could say the woman sitting on the bench might know the other two people because it looks like they are asking her some questions. This is probably not her first time to the library because she has picked up a book. But the other people might be visiting for the first time. I think they haven't been to this library before. So in that answer, I demonstrated a range of knowledge, not just repeating the same structure indefinitely. So that's what's important. This is almost beyond doubt the most important task on the exam for step 5, because others are just the same as step 4, with just minor differences. And if we look at some of the minor differences, tasks are the same: story and 5 pictures, continuous tense, clothing, wear. It's great if the students can speak for 3, 4, 5 sentences about each part of the story. Again, I'm the one who starts it. They just have to continue from picture 2 and make sure not to repeat what I said from picture 1 and just really explore the picture. There's no point in hurrying. They should really go through as much detail as they can, because in step 5, which is band A2 plus, subordinate clauses, conditionals, all the future and past tenses, it's important to demonstrate a complete knowledge. So it's important not to rush through it. The last task of the exam, information exchange, it looks different than step 4, but it's actually identical. So in the first part, I ask the questions, they answer complete sentences, not in order. Of course, I could go in first one, number 4, number 2, back and forth. And then it's their turn to ask me some questions about it. In step 5, of course, these questions can be in any verb tense, but there are some basics. So most of the exam questions include how much is the price of something in British pounds, the telephone number, and it's important to make sure that the question is not just grammatically correctly phrased, but logically correctly phrased. So if we look at this example here, and we look at question 5, telephone number, question mark. The question, of course, could be, what's the telephone number? But that's a lower level question. So probably the correct question is, what number could I call if I have a question about the job? Or what's the telephone number of the office where I can ask for information about the job? So it's more involved than just what's the phone number. And thus we get to grading. Of course, it's the background of the grading is identical to the others. Is it full sentences? Is it logical? Is it well developed? But something that we are looking for in step 5 is a range of knowledge. So is the student comfortable with going between verb tenses? Is the student comfortable with using subordinates and some other clauses? So it's really easy to fail this exam or to get low scores. And the same things apply as so many of our other exams. But the most important point is that there has to be a demonstration of knowledge, that the student can talk about a scene without repeating structures, that the student is aware of what we're looking for, and the student can demonstrate logical development and cohesion. So this exam is quite tough, and the gap between step 4 and step 5 is visible, although smaller than, for example, the gap between, say, step 2 and 3 or step 3 and 4. Okay. So thank you very much for paying attention. I hope your students do well. Thank you.